Hello, radio control boat enthusiasts. My name's David. So the boat I have here that's covered up is a boat that is current. It is the BlackJack 24 V2 that everyone is running straights with, speed runs with. And I just wanted to give you a little information on what I've done, not to make it go faster. I'm interested. I like the boat for the way the boat is, and I just don't think I could handle the additional stress trying to get the boat going faster. I enjoy it just the way it is. So I jotted a few things down that I'm going to talk about that I have done. One of the things is, trying to make this video a little on the shorter side, is I added rubber pads to the top of the stand. And that stand, those pads, if you take a look at those, they keep the boat from sliding around. These pads right here keeps the boat from sliding around. So those are just insulation seals that you get for windows and doors and that kind of stuff. And so it works quite well. Some of the other things I've done on this boat, I've noticed that, and this one might be a little bit goofy, but you know, it has worked for me, and it's worked for me on several boats and several models and a lot of different variety of precision, trying to get things to fit mechanically very precisely without actually going out and buying shim stock and that kind of thing. And on the rudder, these boats come with a lot of free play, front and back free play on the rudder, in the bushing right here on the rudder. And what I have done is I use dental floss. Now, back in the old days, I used to use packing string, but I actually use dental floss, and I wrap the dental floss so it wraps around the dowel pin that's in there, the 1/8 inch dowel, I believe it's 1/8 inch dowel pin, and I cross it. I cross it over and under. So I feed it through on the top. You can either do it through the top or the bottom, and I cross the string like this, and then tie it tight, and then I go back the opposite direction and cross it and pull it tight against the dowel pin, kind of like so. And I keep doing that until it builds up a shim underneath the dowel pin. Now what this does, you can put as much in there as you want to either give it a little bit of a friction movement, or just take the slop out. And if you put a little friction, just the slightest bit of tension in there, if you have a cheap servo, it'll take the jitters out of the servo, and it actually works quite well. And you can adjust as much as you want, depending on how much of this dental floss that you use. Now the key is you have to use waxed dental floss, either Reach or like Johnson & Johnson, one of those brands that come waxed. And then at the very end, I just tie it in a knot and take a match and burn off the excess. This has already been done. There's absolutely no free play. The free play will never come back until the day you disassemble your rudder assembly for service. So at that point, you would have to do it again. Otherwise, it doesn't wear out. You don't need to lubricate it. It's a perfect bushing. Some people use washers, like a 3mm washer. That works good too. But I like to adjust it so it's absolutely precise, a precise fit. Now I'm working off my phone on things I wanted to talk about. I'll get away from that. The next thing is the shaft lube. Now, the shaft lube that comes on these boats is pretty sticky. It is a marine grease that is designed for high centrifugal force. So because these things spin between 30 and 40,000 RPMs, the grease has a tendency to get flipped off. That's why they use a sticky grease. It's designed for high heat, and it's designed to stick on your shaft and not get flung off or walk up the shaft tube and then finally work its way out of one end or the other. Now, a lot of people are changing over to just regular marine grease, and that's fine as long as you use a marine grease that is for high centrifugal use. and for high temperatures. Otherwise, it gets washed out and flung out pretty quickly. The thing that I did, though, that makes it a little bit different is I take this grease that they supply and I mix it with a 50% chance of, not chance, 50-50 mix of Rizlon oil. Now it is an oil that you use to put on new products, new bearings, new sleeves, new anything that has a break-in period or high revolution or high anything. It's designed to take abuse and prevent wear. Now when you mix it with this oil, it mixes well. You still get a sticky lubricant. However, mixing it 50-50, you also get that slick properties that you're looking for if you're using a conventional grease. So it's the best of both worlds. The grease stays in the shaft and you get that nice smooth lubricant that you need. So that's just a tip that I would pass on. Some people might use it, some people might not, but anyways, I find it to work really good. I also find that I don't have to replace the grease as often because the sticky grease pretty much keeps the shaft and the shaft tube pretty well lubed after several tries of taking it out and examining it. There's still plenty of grease in there and it still looks good, no water mixed. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is prop balancing. This is the standard prop, the stock prop that came with the boat, and I have balanced and sharpened it. It's a stainless steel prop. I'm not exactly sure what the pitch is. I think it tells you somewhere. But I've had good luck with this prop. Like I said, I totally balanced it and I sharpened it, and it works quite well. I do like the prop. I probably will not be doing a whole lot of experimenting in that area, but I might. I'm getting adequate speed out of this boat exactly the way I've got it set up, and that's why I'm sharing this with you. Some of the other things that I've done is I've done some modifications to the inside of the boat, and I want to show you this as well. The next thing I've done here is if you look down in here where the shaft exits the tube and connects to the motor, there's a boot here. Now you can't get a grease boot for these boats as far as I know of. You can get one for the 42, but it's hard to find anything for a 24. So I made my own, and I'm going to share what I made it out of. This is a spark plug boot. It's the boot, not spark plug boot, it's the distributor boot. It's the boot that goes over the distributor wire that connects into the distributor cap. So I had some extra boots, and these boots work quite well. All you have to do is slice it down one wall. The inside diameter is pretty much the same as the tube diameter. And then I take a zip tie, and I just put one tie around it just to tie it slightly tight. I put the slit towards the bottom end, and you can rotate the boot around if you want to get access to your collet like that, or you can just snip it off with a pair of dikes and take the boot off completely to service the boot. However, it does keep the grease out of the boat, and I really like that concept, keeping the grease out of the boat. One of the other things I want to talk about since we're on the inside of this boat is this seal. Now, ProBoat put this seal in. It's a good seal and all, but the problem is if you look at the underside of your hatch, there's a nut. That nut is a nylock nut, and it's taller than the concaved standoffs that are mounted inside the boat. So if you put the nut down there and you screw your hatch, if you put your hatch down there, you'll notice that the nut bottoms out before your hatch does. See, there's no way you can get a seal around this hatch because it won't let you. So what I did is I took the nuts off and I used fuel tubing, which is this here, and I put that instead of the nut, and I just cut it half the diameter of the nut. And actually it worked quite well. However, it did not eliminate all of it. And I wanted to eliminate all of it. So I came up with another method, and that is this here. I am still using now their nuts that they supplied, but I'm using this. It is a U-channel rubber U-channel. It's 1/8 inch tall, and I run it around the outside of the boat. It goes inside and out, and the fin on it is no longer a seal from the bottom. The seal is now from the side. It just fits in the boat. Now, so what I would say, what kind of fit is it? It is like a light press fit. So in order to get this hatch in place, you have to, let me push this back a little bit. You have to push this down into place like normal and push the hatch down. And then put your knurled screws into place. And you have to do that on all four corners. I hope I'm not covering the camera up. And tighten it down until it's tight. So I'm not going to do all four corners, but you kind of get the concept. So what it's doing is now the seal is on the edge, no longer on the bottom. So it doesn't matter where the hatch is in relationship to the floor, where it's actually attached to. It's sealing now from the edge. Now what I have done, I have not tested this concept, but I know it's going to work. The reason I have is because I've taken this boat and I've sealed it up, and I've put it under a bathtub faucet and just let the faucet pour over it. No water in the boat. All over the seal, no water. Move the boat around, doesn't matter, there's no water in the boat. It seals tight. The hatch is actually on there tight. So to help get this hatch on, to give it a little bit more ease of putting it on, I use some vinyl, liquid vinyl that you put on like vinyl seats, or liquid rubber that you would put on rubber tires, any kind of silicone, and just smear it around the outside edge of the rubber, preferably something that's UV protective, and let it just sit and soak it up, and then your rubber becomes very slick and that thing slides right on there with ease. Once you mount this on, all you have to do is release these knurled screws and pull up on them, and the latch will come right off, and you can remove your latch just like normal. It's not really a lot of work, but it's a hell of a lot less work than putting tape on your hatch. I don't like that concept, putting tape down. It's a pain. So I use this and it works great. I get no water in the boat. So let's see if I can wrap this up. One of the next things I want to talk about is the batteries I'm using. I'm using a 2S 5000 milliamp hour 120C avionics battery. It comes with the IC5 connector, and I have ordered 4 of these, so I have 2 full running sets. I have found that these come balanced. They're not even off a millivolt. They are perfectly balanced. I've had excellent luck with these batteries. I like them very much, and I highly recommend them. They just fit. They fit all the way around. This is a hard case battery. They completely fit the tray. And to modify, I modified the battery tray a little bit. I beveled this edge here where it slides into the front. And then I don't have any problem getting the batteries in and out. I have found that if you put your batteries in like so, and you push down on the outer edge corner and slide it on, it will slide in and click into place without any issues. I had always had a hard time getting the batteries in and out, and I realized that beveling that edge, pushing down on the outer edge on both sides when you're installing the batteries, then sliding it, pushing it forward, it pops right out. And then of course you can remove it the way you normally would remove that battery. So as far as anything else on this boat, I think that's what I have pretty much done for now. I'm out.